Why we need tips, easy. Somebody has a question. It's like, all right, I
You
got an
guys don't
answer.
need no tips. Make some money in your trades.
What's up, Miss Pelican?
That's why I need tips.
Nah, we're not doing all that.
Anyway, what was your question, Kelly?
Like how detailed is your guys' trading plan? And like, oh, stop it! My dog is like growling because he wants attention. No, my dog is trying to get my attention. Uh, like for the, did you like sit out and you're like, okay, well I know you do. You're like you're 3-to-1, or like, and like how much you're gonna put in the trade, and then like write out your TPs, and then do you put like limit orders in for your take profits, or do you do that later,
Me?
or all
You asked.
I think
all
in general,
all
she's asking, right?
Like
You
all
the
give us way
the
too much credit. Way too much credit.
Yeah, I don't even put in stop losses, stop limits. I
so
do it on the fly.
if I'm
Yeah, me
doing
too.
if I'm doing like a 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio, or for instance, I'm trying to average out to like 1 to 3.5, I'll have multiple targets. Like like it all starts with, okay, here's my invalidation. Now, if the price goes there and I get stopped out, how much am I willing to lose if it goes there? And then that's what I base the trade off of. And I say, okay, look, like I'm willing to risk this much, so the position size should be this big on this amount of leverage. And that's because it's all based off of where the invalidation of the trade is, right? So
mm-hmm.
when you do that, then you can work with. So you got your entry, and you're like, all right, I'm going to enter here. Here's my stop loss. Now, what's a 1 to 2 risk reward to that? Put a take profit there. 1 to 3.5. Put a take profit there. 1 to 5. Put a take profit there, and then 1 to 10. Put a take profit there. And then a lot of times when I zoom out, I look at it like I'll put all my take profits like already in limit orders, and I'll zoom out and I'll be like, oh, okay, well this is resistance here. Like I'll look at my take profits and I'll be like, this is resistance here. This was a previous top here. This is a previous bottom here. So like I look to make sure that they all sort of line up properly as well. And that's kind of like how I go about it. But oftentimes when I have like if I do that, I'll just program it in real quick, and I'll be doing like a scalp that I'm not planning on holding for more than like a couple hours maximum, or like maybe even like 20 minutes.
The short answer is yeah, yeah, Cal. Have everything done before you take your trade. And depending if you're gonna layer in or if you're just gonna snipe the bottom, depends on if you're catching a falling knife, how far how far in advance you have your trade set up. But yeah, have everything done. And when that's a good trade setup has everything. Your entries, it should, once you set your trade up, it should be on automatic. And stick to your plan once you're in it.
Okay.
You can avoid picking up some of the bad habits from some of these hooligans.
Taking profits, man. It's
Yeah,
always good.
once you commit to being like, okay, here's my stop, here's TP1, TP2, TP3. Once you commit to that and you already have it all programmed in, you don't have to think anymore. Like you're already in the trade. Whatever it does, that's what's going to happen. It either hits your take profits or it hits your stop loss, and that's all. You don't have to stress about it as long as you're willing to accept the loss that you'll take if you get stuck. That's
depends though, man.
Once
people tune into momentum trading, though, it's like there are times I think that you can like see that, hey, man, this thing's picking up momentum, it's picking up volume, and I think it's going to blow way past my stop loss because I feel like the momentum's picked up. I think, that's why I don't even do stop loss. I'm just like, all right, when I feel like the momentum's dead, market sell, and I'm out.
Yeah, but how long have you been trading?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you've got to. When I answer these questions, I have to answer them for the newest people in the room.
Right. True.
Yep.
It depends if you want to sleep. Like, if you want to sleep, definitely set your trade up, and it's so much more relaxing and enjoyable. And yeah,
getting into the habit of having a complete setup is just going to make sure that you have better entries.
Yeah, and you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the that's the learning, is to know what you're doing. You learn by practice, right? That's what. So keeping it simple is always the best as well. Keeping it as as simple as you can to understand and not over. In my opinion, it's good for me.
The question was, how much pre-work do you put into your trades, or are you doing it on the fly? That's how I understood the question mostly, right?
Yeah, basically, or like, what is everybody doing? But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, throwing into momentum, it's never really worked out too well for me personally. Like, but if so, there's because I always kind of felt like I was FOMO winning. But yeah, you can play the momentum like that if you got a quick trigger finger, which kind of comes with experience. And then also there has to be a certain level of volatility in the market, which that's not always the case. So, I mean, I'm sure like at any given moment, there's going to be some coin that's being super volatile that you can probably catch, but it's like, sometimes trying to find like a needle in a haystack. Aside
Some
from that,
people
like
like.
if you're really trying to like set up like you're like intelligent trading involves a plan and like thinking it out. Like you don't want to take too long to think about it if you see an opportunity, but think it out, like have a predetermined risk and then just like,
It's
pull the trigger and then have a plan.
it's kind of like a storm catcher versus a meteorologist. Meteorologists will spend centuries trying to work out. He'll spend decades trying to figure out the weather. A storm catcher's an idiot, and he's,
you don't want to be the storm catcher flying into the tornado.
not if you don't have any experience. No, not a good idea.
Yeah, one thing I had that was really painful that I had to learn how to do was like wait for the price to come to where I wanted it. Like, and just be like, okay, I'm not going to enter unless it does this. If it doesn't do this, then I'm not getting into the trade. And that's when it comes to like, okay, I have a limit order set there or something. You know what I mean? Or like I wait to see if it gets there and then how it reacts to like, a certain level for whatever reason, whether it's like a fib level or a moving average or something. Like I have some reason to believe that the price is going to stop there. Then I'll see how it
Like,
reacts, and then like sometimes I'll jump into a trade.
yeah, I mean that's like the biggest challenge that I like first or still kind of struggle with, or in the beginning, but yeah, stop to learn and like,
This is why I feel like candlesticks, being able to read candlesticks is super important because you can kind of see what's happening. And then like the oscillators give you like that bit of extra confluence. Like, but if you can read candlesticks and you see like, oh, it's coming up to resistance and there's an MA there and it's a fib level and it just printed a bearish candlestick formation, like, or like something that's simple, like sort of indicative of a reversal. You have so many different things like that. And when you can recognize all of them all at once, and then you see that candlestick and you're like, all right, that's it. I'm in the trade.
you're not talking about like chart patterns, or you're just talking about like the individual candlesticks and the
Yeah.
candlestick.
Yeah, like there's sharp patterns, which is like an actual like a triangle or like an inverse head and shoulders, a cup and handle, like a bull flag. Those are all like chart patterns, right?
Yeah.
But a candlestick pattern usually consists of like 1 to 3 candlesticks. Mostly it's only one candlestick, but it can contain up to 3.
Dojis,
Sometimes even
morning
4.
stars.
Yes,
Yeah.
you called.
Yeah, like if there's a doji, like even just the simple stuff like a bullish engulfing, bearish engulfing, and understanding what those are. And
That shit
there's
is
like
all super
there's shooting stuff.
overcomplicated, guys. Like super
It is,
super
yeah.
overcomplicated.
Yeah.
There's only 2 types of candlesticks. There's
A red one,
red and green.
one?
So, yeah, why? That was
Yo.
that was very detailed.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
who's pulling on something? Somebody's pulling on something. Big
I don't know.
draws, big draws.
I wanna see what the
So there's only 2 types of
say.
candlesticks. There's either a bullish engulfing or a bearish engulfing. That's it. There's bullish engulfing candles and there's bearish engulfing candles. Aside from that, the only thing you have to worry about are wicks.
What about like, I mean, not to worry about, but as for reference, hammers, doji,
This is what I'm
stars?
trying to break down because all of that shit just super overcomplicates it for people and it's unnecessary.
Right.
What you're doing is you're watching what a candle does when it comes down to a resistance. Right? If a candle comes down to a resistance and it has a flat bottom, then there's no buy pressure at that resistance. Right? So there's nothing in this candle indicating a reversal because there wasn't even enough buy pressure to give you a wick at the bottom. If you come down to the bottom and you have a wick that's bigger than the body, then the only thing that matters is A, do you have a bullish engulfing? And B, does the bottom of this wick break the bottom of that one? That's it. Whether you turn it upside down and you're looking at a bearish engulfing on the top, I mean you're looking at a stopping volume candle on the top with a bearish engulfing, that's literally those are the only three things that matter. People will go crazy chasing 3 white soldiers and this and that, and it's like, bro, I get it.
Sounds good.
It sounds good.
They're
Yes.
cool. They can be useful. I mean, it is slightly more advanced. Like to oversimplify it, that's probably best for people that are just starting out. But you can get really deep into candlestick patterns.
Yeah,
They mean different things.
Yeah, you can. That's what I'm saying, though. People get lost in the weeds when it comes to some of that shit. At the end of the day, you only need to know two things. Is it a reversal candle or a continuation candle?
Analysis paralysis.
But
my
you
man.
know, like I even heard you mention the other day, or like even yesterday, like, oh, this we have this nice like tweezer bottom right here. You said that on something.
Yeah, but
It's
what
like,
that
you know,
is, yeah, but what that is two stopping volume candles from the same exact point. So it doesn't matter if you know it's called a tweezer bottom. What matters is that you have two wicks coming from the same point. So you've got two candles that are both telling you that there's a pivot coming.
Yeah, but knowing all of that and what it's referred to, like it being knowing that it's referred to as a tweezer bottom.
It's cool when you're talking to it's cool when you're talking to other TA people, but when you're sitting in front of your screen trading, it's not gonna help. You need to know what the candle is doing. After you can figure out the names and you can do all of that, of course. I'm not telling anybody not to learn the patterns, but don't go crazy trying to figure out the difference between a dragonfly and a morning star and a hammer. And they're all dojis. There's either top buying pressure or bottom buying pressure, and the following candles let you know whether it's a reversal or whether it's invalidating.
100%.
That taught me so much with the wicks because you see the wicks at the bottom and you think it's drooping, but it's actually buy pressure.
No, it's a spring back. It's showing you how much buy pressure there is. The bigger the wick, the more the buy pressure.
Yeah.
Especially on XRP.
I guess it really only does matter when you're explaining to another trader.
That's what it is. It's just talking TA to TA guys. You're gonna want to know these things because you're not gonna want to be like, you know, there's a pointy candle next to another pointy candle, and then you got like a big schlong candle, and that's the pattern that I like to trade. You just sound crazy, right?
Yeah,
but when you're sitting in front of your screen just trading, the only thing that's important is, as far as candles go, is watching what that's doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree with that, but being able to recognize it, like you don't need to know the name of it to be able to recognize like what kind of candle it is. But what I'm saying, the power in knowing the formations and knowing the name, like you could tell somebody something, and as long as they know that what you're talking about is referred to as a tweezer bottom or a tweezer top, you can say everything that you just said in your whole explanation, but by only saying two words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why it has the power to communicate that.
I'll help you a little bit. Replace the word but for and also, and people won't argue with you so much. Just replace the word but with and also. Just helping you out. It's just a trick.
You are good, dude.
All right.
Stephen is crazy, bro.
I had to do it myself, but it's just a little
Steven's
thing.
always come out of left field.
Well, it's a lot.
That does seem like a good trick.
It's you know, too much is too much. And indicators, sometimes people don't realize that they can't be applied to crypto whatsoever. But
I like but.
And also but.
like and back to you.
Whatever.
Yeah. Keep it simple, stupid, Stephen.
I think you can say but as much as you want, Qui-Gon. Don't listen to Fly.
But it sounds like you're arguing and not agreeing. So you're like, yeah, it's like a backhanded compliment if you say but. If you say and also, you're reinforcing them and you're on the same page. I had to learn it myself.
I was freaking out for a second. I couldn't figure out why my chart looked so crazy, and I forgot I inverted it about 30 minutes ago. I was like, wait a minute, like what am I, bro? You didn't want to be in my head right there for a second. Like Dbloc, you're losing it. What's going on?
I was looking at your chart thinking, what the hell? Why does he have it inverted like that?
Hey, Dbloc, could you explain those candlesticks with the example of where the trap shorts are?
Yeah, it's like you come down. You're coming down through all of this, right? You're seeing wicks, right? So you see this wick, you're like, okay, this looks like somewhat of a reversal candle. But you know that for that to stay valid, you can't get another body to close underneath the body of that candle. And you want your next several candles, at least one of them, to be a bullish engulfing, right? You want to get up out of this range. But you saw weakness and then more weakness, even though it got bought up right to that level, right? They tried. Then you got your first body close. So at that point, you're out. If you swung at this, if this came down and you swung at this, thinking it was the top, that body closing underneath the body of that stopping volume candle is your exit signal. Or the signal to short if you're looking for a break. Then it comes down and you see it and you're like, it wasn't a stopping volume candle. That's not great. You know, not biting at that. This one either. And then boom, you get this one. You're like, okay. We might be in the start of something, right? We're seeing some increased buying pressure come up that wasn't there before. Then you get that bullish engulfing, even though it basically closed flat, but you know, you get the buy pressure. You get the increase in volume that comes with those, you know, with those candles, with those bottoms. Wouldn't even be mad at anybody for swinging at this, even though the candlestick isn't beautiful for a reversal. On a lower time frame, it might have looked a little better, but the volume looked nice. Right? And then you've got your line where that invalidates. You're in on this trade. Let's go to the 5 minute, actually. It might look better. Yeah, so on the 5 minute, you got your stopping volume candle here. And so you came down, had your bottom, volume's increasing, stopping volume candle. That got invalidated, right? But then you instantly had a bullish engulfing. So stopping volume candle, even though it was the second one, bullish engulfing, like I said, is one of my favorite setups. And that's as far as I'll go when it comes to candlestick patterns. Don't really care what came before, mostly. I just want to see the buying pressure come off of a bearish candle, and then I want to see a continuation with a bullish engulfing candle. And then you take your trade. You take your trade and you put your stop underneath. This is if you're bottom hunting, right? Dip's coming in, you want to buy the dip for whatever move's coming after, and you're bottom hunting. And then once you start setting new levels and pushing away, then you're safe to move your stop loss. Right? Your stop loss that maybe was a couple of ATRs underneath there. As soon as you get above your 50, or as soon as you establish this support right here and make a higher high, then you're safe to bring your stop up. You
Thank
know,
you, Dbloc. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, and you do it again.
You made candles a whole lot more simple for me.
Yeah, that was great, Dbloc. Thank you very much.
And then like here, right, you pop up, you come over, you hold support again, right? You turn resistance into support, you break that top, and you stop up again. About locking in the gains. You'd be like, yeah, but it could come down and it could wick me out and it could keep going. Yeah, it could. But who cares? You in it for the perfect trade, or you in it to make money regularly? You know, this way you're going to get in the trade, you're going to make money regularly, and if it turns around, you're not giving back everything.
Yeah, guys, the stream just restarted, so all y'all that came back in here that haven't hit the like button yet, almost 100 of you guys, make sure you smash that like
Smashy,
on the,
smashy.
on the new stream.
Are you in a trade right now, Dbloc?
Yeah, I've got about 70% of my Bitcoin position in.
Can you go over how you choose your take profit levels?
Well, me personally, I'm gonna try to take profit if we get our false move up. That's sort of like the bet that I'm taking. So I set a grid all the way when we were up here, right? Set a grid, filled my grid, came down, added a little bit more to the position just to bring down the average. But I gridded this grid that I had it from the CME gap all the way to the psychological low. That was about 82.6 or 82.9 or something like that. I just set like a dynamic DCA down, right? My first buys were very low and then scaled in. There was an overnight trade, right? We ended up hitting this overnight. If I'm awake, I'll snipe more, like I'll snipe the bottoms more if I'm awake. But if I'm asleep, I just want to be able to get in the trade. So I just leave a grid. Right? I usually set a grid. And then for this specific trade to take profit, because I do think that we're going to go down, looking at M2 and everything, the way it's working out, what I'm trying to do is hopefully get this false move up to the 15. Get back into this get back into this weekend trap, right? Remember how I said the psychological range usually has the CME gap inside of it? We started our psychological range down here. So that's what sort of gave me the idea that, this up push was going to be the one. But where I want to take profits is at our SR flip here. What I'm looking for is for price to come up, give us a little shake and bake until Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, and then come up, free these trap longs, and then probably reject. Maybe goes a little bit higher, but I don't expect it to get above this old support and hold it, because like I said, I expect price to go down. So I'll be taking profit in those areas there, and then as price goes down, then we just move into the next. If we get the false move up, we'll have a 3-day down. If we get a false move down now, the reason that I still have 20% left of the position is because if we get a false move down, I want to add to the position. Right? Our false move will be the move that frees either the trap longs or the trap shorts. But we could easily come back in here, do this, and then come down, free these trap shorts, get some liquidity, and then have a 3-day up. If that happens, the last 20% I'm gonna deploy at the lower low.
Do you think we're going below 81K?
I think 79 is the line in the sand for me where we start to break local structure and things get crazy.